But the percentage of bad truck drivers, dangerous dangerous trucking companies is very small. Most of the truck drivers, the men and the women who are in this field, are really good people who care about the public, care about their safety, they're just trying to earn a living and get home to their own families. But there's a small percentage that's bad, and the bad are getting worse. And we're there to protect our clients against the worst. I'm attorney Dave Craig, managing partner and one of the founders of the law firm of Craig, Kelley Faultless. I've represented people who have been seriously injured or who have had a family member killed in a semi or other big truck wreck for over 30 years. Following the wreck, their lives are chaos. Often they don't even know enough about the process to ask the right questions. It is my goal to empower you by providing you with the information you need to protect yourself and your family. In each and every episode, I will interview top experts and professionals that are involved in truck wreck cases. In the Ask David episodes of After the Crash, we switch things up. Instead of me asking questions, I answer the questions. Nothing's off limits, and they ask me about truck safety, about truck accidents, about semi-truck litigation, about commercial motor vehicle wrecks. You name it, I talk about it. This is After the Crash. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of After the Crash. Today is another one of those where we flip the script and Ashley is the host and will be asking me questions. Ashley, take it away.
Yes, welcome to After the Crash, Ask David version, where I get to take over for a third time, which is pretty exciting. I don't know why I still am able to do this, but here we go. We are going to look at recapping our 2025 year. So can you tell me a little bit about what we've done? Let's start off with trucking law. What have we done to advance that in 2025 here at our firm?
Yeah, well, thanks, Ashley. I think, it's been an exciting year for Craig, Kelley Faultless. It's been an exciting year for growth. And certainly since our firm niches and does truck accident law, that's a large part of our practice. Certainly it's the biggest part of my practice and my partner Scott Faultless's practice. Every year we try to do something. We try to improve. We try to grow. We try to expand in that area. So the reason we continue to work so hard in truck accident law is that these accidents are horrific. They're devastating to the clients. And so our goal is, how do we continue to get better? And I think 2025 we made great progress. One thing, Scott and I are both board certified by the NBTA, the National Board of Trial Advocacy, which is approved by the ABA, American Bar Association. And this year was exciting because the Indiana Supreme Court recognized board certification. And so they said, this is an area of expertise that if you can get board certified by an ABA approved organization, then you can hold out as a board certified or specialist in truck accident law. And I think that's exciting. I think that's exciting for the public. It's great news because that's one way people can distinguish between who really knows truck wreck law and who doesn't. I just checked this morning to see how many lawyers throughout the country, and there are 83 at this time we're doing this podcast. There are only 83 lawyers in the whole country that are board certified in truck accident law. And so if you think about doctors, you go to your doctor, but then you need a surgery. Your general practitioner is not going to perform the surgery. You're going to go to a specialist. You're going to go to somebody who board certified in orthopedic surgery or board certified in brain surgery, whatever it happens to be. And there's all kinds of different board certifications that are recognized, and you're allowed to hold out as a specialist. And now, because the Indiana Supreme Court has now said you can be board certified if you go through the proper procedures and you go through the proper group. And my partner, Scott Faultless, and I are both board certified in truck accident law. There's only 4 lawyers in the state of Indiana that are board certified in truck accident law. And there's no law firm in Indiana that has 2 lawyers in there that are board certified. So I'm really proud. I think that's exciting. I think that's a cool, neat thing that has happened since this 2025. That wasn't there. We were board certified before last year, but the Supreme Court of Indiana hadn't rubber stamped it. and said, yeah, no, we've approved of this organization that is actually doing the criteria and holding people responsible. And it's not easy to be board certified. You have to have a lot of practice. You've had a lot of, your practice has to be focused on trucking. You have to have a certain number of depositions and discovery and briefs and certain percentage of your cases. You have to work with experts. You have to be vetted by judges and defense lawyers and plaintiff lawyers. And then you have to go pass a test. So it's tough. That's why there's only 83 in the whole country. But I'm really proud that two of them were in our law firm.
Absolutely. And I feel like one of the things that I am most proud of is we have two paralegals that are now certified in truck accident law, which I don't think, I mean, when you look at our firm, we have two attorneys and two paralegals. And I mean, paralegal certification is very, is similar. They have to take a test. They have to prove that a majority of their stuff, their cases are trucking cases. And I think that, that's just something that sets us apart.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think that was one of the other things that we made some major progress in this year in 2025 was that, two of our paralegals went and sat for the test and they had the prerequisite experience. So they had to have so many truck cases. They've had to do discovery, investigations. They have had to help us process these cases. And now two of them had enough experience to get that done. And so then the next step was they had to set a test. And the board certification for paralegals is through the ATAA, which is the largest trucking lawyer group in the country. And so you have to you got to go to the ATA conference. They have a test every year. This year, Holly and Carissa, two of our litigation paralegals, they went there and they were very nervous. And probably not as nervous as I was when I took my test for board certification, but they're extraordinarily sharp ladies. They have a ton of experience handling these truck cases. And so it was exciting that both of them passed their test and now are both board certified. And you're right. I don't know of any law firm in Indiana that has, I actually know that there are no law firms in Indiana that have two board certified truck accident attorneys, as well as two board certified paralegals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, going to that, I was lucky enough to go this year again to the ATAA convention. We took our rapid response team. We took our, group of litigation paralegals, our discovery paralegal, and then obviously you and Scott and Chris from our firm went as well. I mean, I think that we've kept you busy this year in the sense of not only with, the cases that we have, but also you have been running around the country and speaking. So can you talk a little bit about that?
I do, but before I do, I want to go back just 1 second, because I think for all you folks that are listening, Ashley she runs our litigation department, and Ashley does the work. She keeps us all going, keeps our cases moving, and I think that people need to understand that when they're picking a lawyer, it's so easy for you. I see lawyers all the time talking about how great they are, right? Well, a lawyer is nothing without a team. I don't care who the lawyer is. I don't care how great the lawyer is. The lawyer is nothing without a team. And at Craig, Kelley Faultless, we continue to improve our team. And Ashley runs that litigation, and you're not going to find anybody better. Ashley is extraordinary experienced paralegal, and she was top of our paralegal staff, and now she runs our paralegal staff and our lawyers. And so she's in charge of litigation. But the fact is that you want a law firm, if you've been in a catastrophic accident, if you've been hit by a semi or a flatbed or a dump truck or a lumber truck or a garbage truck, whatever the commercial motor vehicle, a bus, regardless of the type of motor vehicle, commercial motor vehicle case, or regardless of the type of commercial motor vehicle that hits you, you want a team, not just one lawyer. And I'm extraordinarily proud. I think this year, 2025, we improved our team. We have board certified lawyers, board certified paralegals. We have Ashley running the litigation department. We have a rapid response team. And we invest as a firm in saying, let's go send these people to a national trucking conference. And this one happened to be down in Texas. And
Mhm.
let's send our person that does our discovery. Let's send our litigation paralegal. Let's send the person who supervises litigation. Let's send our rapid response team and our lawyers to this conference, because that way we can provide a better quality service to our victims of commercial motor vehicle wrecks. And so this year we learn, and every time you go to one of these conferences, I had the pleasure of speaking at this year's conference, and I spoke at many of those national conferences. But the reality is that every year I go, I learn, and I'm taking notes, and I think that's what you want. You want somebody who continues to learn, whose goal is to be better next year than they are this year. And we all can improve. We can all learn, and so I'm very proud of the fact that we all went to the ATAA conference down in Texas, and we have taken our staff there the last several years. Next year it's in Colorado, so it'll be real fun to be in Denver.
Yeah.
So we'll have a great attendance there. But I want to thank you for running our litigation department, and also for the fact that we had such a great attendance at the ATA conference.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what, is so different here. It's not just, you're relying on one attorney and one paralegal. I mean, you truly do have a team of people behind you. And, we all kind of live by the firm motto of make a positive difference, in the lives of others. And we really take that to heart. So, you can have a group of 10 of us working solely on your case, and, the case of a family member that you may have lost. And I think that definitely speaks volumes about just the way we do things, and the way we practice.
And I think so, and that part is so exciting, is that it's so much more fun to have a whole group of people.
Right.
I mean, we added a social worker, for example, this year. We didn't have that last year. I mean, this is our first full year of a social worker working with our clients. And so again, that's something different. We have a committee who's on charge, who looks after our clients to make sure not just their case problems, but if they're personal problems. I don't know many law firms do that, and that committee has been going full steam in 2025. And we've done so many different things. When somebody hires us, we send them out a flasher. So they can take in their car. So if their car breaks down or their kid's car breaks down, they can put these flashers so they can be seen, because we see how many wrecks happen at night when you're not visible. And so we send that out as soon as you become a client. I mean, there's so many things I think that we do that I'm really proud of, because our motto, our mission is to make a positive difference in the lives of others. And certainly I feel like in 2025, we really did that. And I'm really proud of our firm. And again, we grew. I mean, we're a bigger firm now. We continue to grow. In fact, we're looking for new office space, for additional office space. We moved part of our pre-lit department into a different building. They're down in the south side of Indianapolis. We're looking at another building to put, because our litigation department continues to grow. So it's an exciting time at Craig, Kelley Faultless. Back to speaking, though, I did get the opportunity. I love, as you can tell, I love to talk.
Oh my gosh, I'll be shocked.
And so I had the honor of speaking I spoke at a total of 5 conferences, one in Atlanta, one in Arizona, one in Texas, and one in Florida, and one in Indiana. And so obviously I speak mostly on truck accident law. And I spoke at the John Romano runs a wonderful, John Romano and Eric Romano are fantastic trial lawyers. I mean, you can't ask for any better trial lawyer in the country. John is in the Hall of Fame, National Hall of Fame trial lawyers, and he's just extraordinarily gifted. And they're really good folks, and it's a good law firm, good quality people. They run what's called a workhorse conference with the Florida trial lawyers down in Florida. And Scott Faultless and myself were invited by John Romano to come down and run a trucks section. It was like a half a day, and it was just all in trucking. And so Scott and I went down and spoke down there in Florida, and not only spoke, but we actually ran. I mean, it was an intense trucking seminar on all aspects of trucking. So Scott and I did that in Florida. I spoke at the National ATA conference down in Texas on trucking. And then Scott and I both spoke in Indiana on trucking. And then Scott and I both co-chair the conference in Indiana that we do alongside of Indiana Travelers Association on winning truck accident cases, how to win truck accident cases. And Scott and I hosted that. That was our second year, and it takes a lot of work. Suzanne, puts that together in our office, and Suzanne does a great job. Ashley hits the gong every year. She does a great job.
I mean, if there could be comment cards about the strength of the gong, that'd be great next year.
We had great speakers at this year's 2025 trucking. John Romano was one of the speakers, but we had a great group of speakers, and I was real excited, and we had a great turnout. And so that was another highlight. And then my son Alex, who's also a partner in our law firm, he also spoke at an Indiana Trial Lawyers Conference, a separate conference on his topic was trucking as well. So I think focus groups with trucking and focus groups. So we, not only are we helping our clients, but we're also going around helping other lawyers learn how to handle these truck cases. And I take a lot of pride in being able to give back to the community that way.
Absolutely. And, I think one of the other things that you've done this year is you've authored another book.
I did. I wrote a new book. This one it's a smaller book, and it took me longer to write it than my first book. The first book was, for the victims of truck accidents, and specifically, and it was, help people go through a tough time, and semi-truck wrecks, a guide for victims and their families. This book was something that I wrote because I kept seeing people hire the wrong lawyers. And so the bigger the stakes, the higher the stakes, the more important it is to hire the right attorney. And it doesn't have to be me or our law firm, but it needs to be the right law firm. It needs to be the right attorney. And unfortunately, people just don't even know what to ask. They don't know who to hire. And so they're bombarded with all this propaganda from marketing and billboards and TV and Google ads. And there's even people out there soliciting personally, which is unethical and improper and illegal in some places. Mm-hmm. And there's these people these venture capital companies, which most of them people have never heard of. They go in and invest and they try to get leads. So they market themselves, and you think they're lawyers, and they're not even lawyers. And they're getting these cases, people call in off the internet. They're buying pay-per-clicks. So somebody Googles, who's the best truck accident attorney in the state of Indiana? And so right off the bat comes pay-per-clicks, advertisements, sponsored ads. And these look sometimes like they're lawyers, but they're not. And they're these companies that all they do is they want to harvest these leads, and then they turn around and sell them to whoever will pay for them. Mm-hmm. And so they're not lawyers. They're not necessarily qualified to decide what's a good and bad case. And then they don't really care. They don't vet the companies that they sell them to necessarily. Not all of them do. And they just sell them to whoever will buy them, which is unethical, I think, anyway. So I decided that it was time to write a book. And so I wrote a book that it's never been easier to pick the wrong attorney. And so I got that out this year, which I was excited about. And that was another accomplishment, I think, that I wanted to get done in 2025, and we were able to get it done. And I take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, well, and I think you should take pride in the fact that all the proceeds from that book go to charity. I mean, I think that's, something that kind of sets you apart. And it's directed at the clients or potential clients. I think that's different than most things out there now. It's more directed to, the consumer.
I think that our goal is, again, if your goal is to make a positive difference in the lives of others, then, it doesn't matter. It does not make a positive difference in our clients. I mean, that certainly making a positive difference in the lives of others would include our clients. To me, it includes our employees, it includes our families, but it also includes people out in the communities. And nothing's hard. I mean, it's so horrible to see somebody who's lost a loved one in a semi-truck wreck, and they hired the wrong lawyer, and the lawyer settles the case for far less than what they should have. Or they haven't preserved the evidence. They haven't downloaded the truck. They don't know what to do. They don't know what experts to hire. And it's so frustrating. And the book was written, but I don't care what kind of lawyer, whether you're a criminal lawyer, divorce lawyer, family law lawyer, or a state lawyer, I mean, the book is helpful no matter what kind of lawyer you need. But in my world, truck accident law, personal injury, the consequences of hiring the wrong lawyer are devastating. And so we wrote that book to make a difference in people's lives. And you're right. All of our books, my partner BJ Kelley's wrote one book. I've written two now. All the proceeds from our books that our firm and the lawyers in our firm write go to charity.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, I think it just speaks to the growth that our firm has seen this year. I mean, we have had the privilege of, being hired to represent and help people of, commercial motor vehicle, crash victims. And I think that that's huge. Um, in addition to your speaking engagements and your your book, you do a podcast, obviously. Here we are. Not only, do you do the After the Crash podcast? It's what, 5 years old now?
Yep.
And then
5 years old, over 70 episodes.
70 episodes in all your free time. But then you started to do the Ask David version. So you've had 12 guests this year. And I think our first guest was Randy Ellis on the Ask David.
Yeah, Randy, I love Randy. Randy was most people know him. He's a retired weather person. And I think he's busier now in his retirement life than he was even when he was working. But I love Randy. Randy's always a great to have, and he agreed to be one of our guest hosts, originally. So, and we've had all kinds of different folks on there. We've had some paralegals that on how like answering discovery. We've had one of the board certified or both board certified truck accident paralegals were guests. We had an attorney. My son Alex was a guest this year talking about preparing for depositions. We've had a guy who's an expert on truck safety. He's one of the big advocate companies out of Washington, D.C., and he lobbies for safer roads. He was a guest talking about some of the dangerous things out there right now that we're facing in trucking and the laws that deal with trucking. One of the big problems that truckers have is they can't find safe places to park, so they park along the highways, which is extraordinarily dangerous. I mean, at nighttime, if a semi is parked along the side of the road and there's no lighting on it, it can create a dangerous situation. And so parking is a problem throughout the country. So we decided let's invite somebody on there that knows about parking. And so our last, we had a guest that talked about, his company and what they're doing to help prevent dangerous parking and to put truck drivers in safer spots. And then we also interviewed a truck driver. I mean, I think that's pretty cool is that, let's get a truck driver's perspective. And so I interviewed a truck driver. But every episode of the podcast is, again, geared towards the average everyday person, not necessarily attorneys, although I do get attorneys who listen to it and comment about it. But it's just like, okay, if, you find yourself in a situation where you have a personal injury case or a semi or a commercial motor vehicle case, what would I want to know? What would I want to know? And so I put out information that I would want to know if I was a consumer, if I was an average everyday person who wasn't part of the legal system. And that's what I gear it for. I don't do it for rankings. I don't do it for ratings. I don't do it for a number of followers. I do it, okay, is there somebody out there, what if they need a question answered? What kind of, whether a reconstructionist, whether it's attorneys, whether it's paralegals, I mean, what is it that I would want to know? And that's what we do. And that's what we continue to do.
Yeah.
And we've been, luckily, even though that's not my goal, isn't rankings, luckily we've been successful.
Yeah, I was going to say you're among the top personal injury, podcasts, which I think speaks volumes. So people obviously like the content, like the information, and if anybody is watching this and has a question or a potential guest that they'd like to see David talk to, I definitely fire away on the comment section because I think that's how we improve and how we get better.
I agree. And I think one of the things along that is that if you haven't subscribed, I would ask you to subscribe. It's free. Because and give us comments, give us feedback, because that's how we grow. I mean, right now, I mean, one poll has us ranked as number 4 in the country. I don't want to be number 4. I don't like to be number 4th in anything. I want to be number 1, and I need
Right.
everybody's help. And so you need to rank. You need to like me. You need to like the podcast. You need to subscribe to the podcast, and tell me. You know, if you're a trucker and you don't like what I have to say, well, then tell me what you have to say. So I'll schedule a time to interview you. If you run a trucking company and you don't think that we should have speed limiters and you don't like what I have to say about speed limiters, then reach out to me. We'll put you on the podcast. You can explain to my audience why you don't think speed limiters are safe. Whatever it happens to be, I mean, we're going to try to continue to bring relevant information to the public. And I would love to have as many people. I mean, we've gotten to the number 4. We've been in the top 10, top 20. But I would love to get to number 1 for personal injury podcast.
Yeah,
So
that would
I need
be
your help
great.
I need your help to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, it would be interesting to, have more truck drivers on, I think. I mean, I think that sometimes attorneys get a bad rap, and I think that sitting down and talking with them and just, you know, most everything can be solved by just a basic conversation. Um,
And I think truckers, people don't, when we sue truckers, I mean, that's what our law firm does. We sue dangerous truckers. We sue people who kill people, who hurt people, and they should pay, and the trucking companies should pay. And everybody involved that caused the harm to our clients, they should pay. But the percentage of bad truck drivers, dangerous truck drivers, dangerous trucking companies is very small. Most of the truck drivers, the men and the women who are in this field, are really good people who care about the public, care about their safety, they're just trying to earn a living and get home to their own families. But there's a small percentage that's bad, and the bad are getting worse. And we're there to protect our clients against the worst. But I love talking to truck drivers, and I represent a lot of truck drivers. Our firm has a ton of truck drivers who we represent who've been hurt by other truckers. And we fight hard for those truckers. And so, but I've been told by lots of different truckers that unfortunately there are some bad ones out there, and the bad ones are getting worse, and they will tell you about it. And they're not trained, they're not properly qualified to drive their trucks, or they're not in the right health. They shouldn't be driving the trucks. So anyway, so yeah, we're not against truckers. We're against
Nope.
bad truckers.
Exactly. And I mean, some of my all-time favorite clients have been truck drivers that we've been able to help. And I think it's very interesting when you talk to, our clients about a bad truck driver, and they can tell you exactly what they did wrong, the regulations that they didn't follow. And so I just love conversations with them. So hopefully we'll be having more of those in the future. And so what does 2026 look like? What is Craig, Kelley, and Faultless doing? What's on the kind of the docket?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll continue to grow. Our goal will be, I mean, our law firm they call client centric. I mean, we care about our clients. We're going to continue to focus on our clients. We're going to continue to figure out what we need to do to provide better quality services to our clients. I mean, everybody can improve. And so we'll continue to work on how to get better, how to improve. I think that, we'll be busy. I know last year I did 6 interviews where I was interviewed by different, USA Today, by different magazines, different. And so I would imagine that I think MSN. I mean, there's several magazines that interviewed me, and I think that goes with the more prominent we become. I think the more we'll be interviewed, the bigger the role we'll play in trucking and safety and protecting victims. I expect us will be speaking a lot. I'll probably take a year off from writing a book. I think that would be good. And one of the things, I guess, this year we'll be really busy. My partner, Scott Faultless, I'm extremely proud of him. He's on the safety committee of the ATAA. So the safety committee is one of the committees of the biggest trucking group, personal injury trucking groups in the country. And my partner is in charge. He's one of the co-chairs of the safety committee. And as a result of that, he's looking at legislation throughout the country and being very actively involved. And so I think this year we'll be very actively involved in making sure that laws are not passed that hurt the ordinary person on the highways. We want to protect people and fight for changes that help protect people, and fight against those that make the roads more dangerous. And so my partner Scott Faultless is on that. He's also on the board of directors of the Indiana Trial Lawyers Association. So I think that our role as a advocate will increase, and then I think we're growing. I'm looking at potentially a new building, looking for more employees. We want people who are goal-oriented, who are results-driven, who really care about people. We're not looking just to add people; we're just looking to add the right people. But I think as we grow, that finding the right people is going to be really important. I see that in 2026. We've got some other projects I think that will help. We're working with will help educate the public on what parts of Indiana are dangerous. What parts should you be aware of that the highways are dangerous? People don't know. They're out there traveling and they don't realize that, you should always be paying attention. But there's certain stretches of the highway that I know of that I pay more attention to, because week after week after week, people get killed or hurt on Indiana highways. And so I want to educate, just like what we've educated people with the book, just like we educate people with the podcast. I would like to educate people on real-time wrecks. And so I think that will go live in January, and we'll start showing people where they can find out where is the dangerous sections of the state of Indiana, what highways should I watch out for. And we'll do more podcasts, more interviews, more seminars. But more importantly, the whole goal of all this is to educate, make the highways safer, but then also to be able to be in a position where we can represent our clients. And that's something I don't want to really focus on. Our number one priority is our clients. This past year, we've been hired on more commercial motor vehicle cases than any other law firm I know. We've been hired for more cases than what we have ever been taken. So more people trusted us with their cases. More people trusted us with their future than ever. And I take that obligation very seriously, that commitment. And I expect us to grow next year. I expect us to handle even more commercial motor vehicle cases, more semi-trucks, dump trucks, tractor trailers, flatbeds, garbage trucks, buses, you name it. We've represented people in all those cases. And I expect us to handle even more of those and protect. And I want to make sure that my goal is not to get bigger. We don't want every single case. There's certain cases we just don't handle. But I want to make sure that we can handle the cases that we get, and that we can give top-notch professional quality services and get folks what they deserve. So that's what's important for 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. We might need to look at adding someone else in our rapid response team. They have been busier than ever this year. So I think that's, a fantastic lookout for 2026. And I'm sure you'll be on a lot more podcasts. You were only on 7 this year as a guest. So I think you already have 1 for January of 2026. But
that's good.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. Yep. But I don't have any more questions, I don't think. Is there something that I have missed that we want to touch on?
No, I think that it's important for people to understand how fortunate and blessed we are. I'm very thankful this time of year. We're getting ready to go into Thanksgiving. Very thankful for our success.
Yeah, we are incredibly honored to represent so many amazing families. And I think, as you can tell, they touch our lives probably more than we touch theirs. So
I think it's mutual.
I hope so. Hopefully we can continue that in 2026.
Right. Well, thanks, everybody. Ashley, you did wonderful.
Hey, thanks. Time 3, maybe third time's a charm. I don't know. Maybe people can leave in the comment section if I'm kind of getting a hang of this thing or not. I don't know.
This is David Craig, and you've been listening to After the Crash. If you'd like more information about me or my law firm, please go to our website, ckflaw.com. Or if you'd like to talk to me, you can call 1-800-ASK-DAVID. If you would like a guide on what to do after a truck wreck, then pick up my book, Semi-Truck Wreck, a guide for victims and their families, which is available on Amazon, or you can download it for free on our website, ckflaw.com.